From Carolla One Studios in Glendale, California, this is the Adam Carolla Show. Adam's guest today, John Schneider. With Gina Grad on news and Bald Bryan on sound effects. And now, he rants more before 9 a.m. than most people do all day. Adam Carolla.
Morning, First Sergeant. Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. No choice big on a mandate. You get it on now. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend as we round the corner into 2021. Right, Gina Grad?
That's right.
Handball, Brian.
You know nothing.
Yes.
I'm excited to speak to John Schneider today. I'm speaking to John Schneider, right? Yeah.
Yes,
okay,
you are.
Got that right. Because Dukes of Hazzard, as I look down on my screen, was from 79 to 85. Those were my prime babysitting years. And I think Dukes of Hazzard. I knew every Friday night lineup on all the networks because I was sitting around my neighbor's house eating pie filling with my hand out of a fucking can. And I would watch all those shows, and the Dukes of Hazzard was one of them. And also these shows, when you come from, I'm living smack dab in the middle of North Hollywood. Nobody's got a cool car. No one in my family's got a fast car. We certainly don't shoot crossbows with flaming arrows into outhouses and blow them up or jump cars or do anything. And just sitting back and watching that show. Also,
watching that General Lee.
Yeah, I never really thought about it, but was the Dukes of Hazzard TV show, was that just out of whole cloth? Or was there like a series of books or something? Like, is it based on anything? It seems weird to be just whole cloth.
Inspired by the 1975 film Moonrunners about a bootlegger family, which was also created by Guy Waldron.
Ah, so there was some inspiration there. And Waylon Jennings did the theme. Brian knows
Is there
Waylon.
a better theme? Is there a better theme song on the planet than Eastbound and Down? Or I'm sorry, not Eastbound and Down. The Dukes of Hazzard.
Good old boy.
Music. Just a good old boy.
Not.
Never been with no harm.
Yeah, there isn't a better one that. See, it doesn't try that hard. It's not like it's got the pace is down. It's not on the nose like Gilligan's Island or Brady Bunch or whatever, where they were just getting all the story stuffed into the opening.
Expository.
All the expository information was, he died. And
how did we get here?
She's a widower. The thing that was always weird about there's a couple things. So back in the day, when somebody's kids were with somebody else, it wasn't because of a messy divorce. Somebody had to die. It was unacceptable that somebody would divorce Mike Brady, the lead Brady. What woman would leave him, even though he was gay, but still.
Strike one.
What?
The show.
Okay. But we'll argue about it after the show. But the point is this. Nobody would leave Carol or Mike Brady, and they wouldn't leave anyone either because they were good family people.
Yep.
So they both had to have moms and dads. The three kids had to have moms and dads that died recently, and ostensibly it had to be something horrific or tragic because these guys were in their mid-30s.
That's right. I believe I've done a little research on this. It's come up on this show, and it's come up, I think, with Conway. In the pilot, the Brady boys talk about their deceased mother, but no information ever comes out about the Brady girl's father. So Florence Henderson would just joke that she killed him, but it's never discussed. But yes, it was definitely more taboo to be divorced than to be murdered.
I was going to say, was it ever discussed, this horrific, traumatic event that led these families to splinter?
No, and there's another one where they didn't get into it either. Now, first things first, I know Sherwood Schwartz. I knew Sherwood Schwartz a little, and I do know the story that they never really worked in about how the Brady boys' mother died.
Oh, my God. Breaking exclusive.
Trick gone bad.
Oh, shit.
Yep.
I did not see that coming.
Well, that's why they didn't write it in. It was too
it's
too horrific.
given the choice, I would leave that out too.
Right. So
Not very wholesome.
And can I say this on that note, that this has come full circle, this sort of wholesomeness where it's not divorce, it's some sort of tragic thing that leaves the widow or the widower, free to live a life or whatever they want. It's come full circle with Hallmark movies, which I'm sad to say I've watched more than my fair share of this season, including one featuring John Schneider.
Oh, really?
Just like last week, I was like, oh, it's fucking, it's that guy. It is John Schneider.
Only try to spend a half hour on that, Adam.
Yeah, but every time they're like the kid. There's always a precocious kid, and there's always a single parent. It's like, oh, what happened? Oh, mom died, or blah blah blah, whatever. It's come full circle.
Well, think about the psychological ramifications. Family Affair was the same thing. Buffy and Jody, they were like 5, and both their parents died. That's why they had to go live with Mr. Bill. So Mr. Bill pre-SNL.
Oh, no.
So now you take young kids and, the Brady boys, the oldest was, 10 or 11 for the pilot. Then there was an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old. Same with the girls. You would wake up every night with night terrors.
Yeah.
If your mom died when you were 7,
it's a life-changing event.
You would freak out. Like, you'd have to have a full-time therapist. Fuck Alice. You need like a full-time family counselor, like living in that guest bedroom with 6 kids that just lost. And again, you didn't lose them to old age. No. They were cut down in their prime. Some event.
And it would be a cold day in hell before they started calling Carol mom.
Oh my God!
And that was right out of the gate.
They went right in on it. All right, so the Dukes. Yeah, the Dukes. Again, probably the best theme without trying too hard. We'll play play that one at the beginning. Sorry. Is this from the show? Jumping cars, slow motion.
Just a good old boy, never meaning no harm. Beats all you never saw, been in trouble with the law since the day they was born. Straightening the curves.
They always got the
Flattening the
hills. Daisy Duke.
Someday the mountain might get them, but the law never will. Making their way the only way they know how. That's just a little bit more than the law will allow. Just a good old boy.
Boss hog.
Wouldn't change if they could.
Cooter.
Fighting the system like a true modern-day Robin Hood.
They made there's another one where they fire the arrow into an outhouse and it blows up. But, it's kind of funny because they're good old boys, never meant nobody no harm, but they're firing an arrow into a cop car.
Yeah.
They're doing illegal things.
They're scofflaws.
If you knew the actual version, the real-life version of a guy who fired arrows at cop cars, that wouldn't be someone you would say never meant anyone no harm. They never meant no one no harm, but they've been in trouble with the law since the day they were born.
Yeah.
You don't
that belies their true intentions.
You're not just born in trouble with the law. You have to kind of get in trouble with the law. But, that must have been the earlier version of it. They did another version of it?
Yeah, I'm sure there are probably a few versions. I mean, this song also was a commercial hit. It reached 21 on the Billboard charts.
As it should.
As it should have. All right. So we got that to look forward to. And yes.
I got to tell you that John Schneider is responsible for me learning how to tell time, because the Dukes of Hazzard was big in the grad house. And of course, I was just little teeny tiny. And, we loved ourselves some John Schneider and Tom Wopat. And my mom, since we didn't know how to tell time, she'd say, I'm going to the grocery store. Here's the babysitter. How long are you going to be gone? I will be gone for one Dukes of Hazzard episode.
Oh, really?
That is how we learned how to tell time.
Wow.
I'll be gone for one Dukes of Hazzard was a very normal phrase in our house.
Yeah. I like it as an increment. Like one Mississippi is just a second, and one Dukes of Hazzard is an hour with commercials.
A trip to the grocery store.
Yeah, I would watch Dukes of Hazzard, Fantasy Island, Love Boat, and probably like Heart. By the time Heart to Heart came on, I'd already had a couple of cans of pie filling. I was loosening my underoos and just sort of leaning back on the sofa trying to stay awake before the customers came home.
Sure.
Yeah.
In terms of expository songs, can the Beverly Hillbillies be beat?
No.
That lays out
story.
family dynamics. That lays out generations moving cross country.
What other people felt about them moving?
Yes.
What the neighbors felt?
Yeah. They told them they had to head to Beverly Hills.
That's right.
All right. Well, I'm speaking. So the Dukes of Hazzard theme, the car driving theme. My kids are old enough now that they want to go out driving. So we went out last night, and Natalia wanted to go to Hollywood, which is a definite trek. So we picked up our friend, and we drove out to Hollywood, and that was over an hour round trip at the amount of sort of winding we went through.
You guys remember the age when Hollywood held allure? Like the city limits of Hollywood? Like, let's go to Hollywood.
Oh, yeah. No, that was the thing. Like, Natalia's like, we're going to go to Hollywood. We're going to take some pictures. I'm like, we're not getting out of the fucking car. Are you kidding me?
That's my thought exactly.
There's a guy with a pickaxe. He's attacking Donald Trump's star.
I'm not getting out of this car.
There's a guy dressed like Beetlejuice who's trying to stab that guy. We're not getting out of the fucking car. Yes, it is not the Hollywood that we grew up idolizing. No.
Tinseltown.
It is not Tinseltown. But I fired up my Z car because tonight they learned to drive the manual stick shift.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, Merry Christmas to us all.
Yes, in a commemorative BRE 270 Z car that has 0 mileage on it. It literally has never been driven. They made 50 of them. They're commemorative. They gave me one because I have 4 BRE actual, real, authentic race cars. So, they didn't give it to me, but I paid for it, but they let me cut in line, or they gave me a ticket. You know, these cars, the real limited edition stuff, they're doing you a favor by letting you pay full freight for this car because they make a limited edition and everyone wants one, and then they're always going to be worth more. Although, I don't know, once my daughter drives it into the swimming pool at the school as we plow through the fence, I don't know if it's going to be worth as much, but I am going to start her on a stick in a sports car.
That's
and
tough.
we're gonna get it tonight, and I am supremely confident that I can do it. The boy, I don't know, but
we got time.
Natalia, I think we got it. So I will report tomorrow on how it goes. But we're going out Z car driving tonight.
Are you going to force him into the car like a cat being forced into a bathtub? Is he just going to hold his arms apart?
Dog in a crate.
Yeah, that's. I think she'll do it. The third pedal's a little tough because with the so what I do with the standard car, or the not the standard but the automatic, is I put them in the car, I put them in the driver's seat, I go, take your left foot and just put it off to the side. Like, take your left foot and rest it. I don't want your left foot involved with this at all. And then we start the car and we leave it in park, and then I go, all right, now only using your right foot, gas. And then I go brake, gas, brake. Gas, brake. And I just get the right foot moving back and forth from the gas to the brake. Feel the gas, feel the brake. Learn it, feel it with your foot. But the clutch does involve the left foot, obviously. So there's a lot of race car drivers who use the clutch who actually left foot brake. They actually use their left foot on the brake while using their right foot while they're, shifting and driving and all that stuff. But anyway. The left foot is going to be, could be a game changer, could be something that adds a difficulty factor to the mix, but I'm going to use my safe word, and that safe word will be to push the clutch in, and I don't know. I'm trying to think. I wonder what, I'm going to guess, because you have to give the person their own safe word.
Mm-hmm. Right,
They have to make up their own safe word, so Natalia will be, I don't know, Shawn Mendes or something.
Yeah.
Katy Perry.
Just scream Bieber.
Yeah, something. But either way, when that word is called, your foot presses the clutch in.
Jonas.
And, I forgot this too, yeah. The sports cars still have the old-fashioned handbrake that's in between the console. So
Really?
Like an e-brake? Like to pull up the...
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. So I think, I got to put my head in there and look, but the modern-day cars all have the brake, have the handbrake, what we used to call the parking brake. Mm-hmm. They have it on the left. You operate it with your foot. Some of them like a bigger truck, or
my Chevy S10 had those.
Yeah, you push it into like if you're parked on a hill. Yeah.
Or they just have the electronic one. Mm-hmm. But if it's got the handbrake, the e-brake in the middle, then I think I could just keep my hand on that and break it off before we head into the pool.
Might be engendering some bad habits, but yeah, you could do that.
So there's a parking lot. Their school parking lot is not too far away. It's pretty big, and we could definitely go there and turn some hot laps. Also,
will you please take some video?
I will attempt to take some video. I'm also going to freak them out because I'll do a little freeway bonsai run before we do it. And when you put those, people have never experienced a stick shift car. When you tack that thing up to 7,500 RPM when you're getting on the freeway and you're pulling them back in the seat. Yeah,
feels like it's going to blow up when it gets up to that. I learned to drive on a stick, very similar to your Z car, Adam, of the 1981 Toyota Corona. Not Carolla, Corona.
The Corona.
This was the station wagon, hatchback-looking thing, sky blue. Oh, man.
Yeah, the Corona.
Cherry. That's my car. Oh, thanks, Mom and Dad.
The Corona.
That was an 81 I drove in high school in 1996.
Queen Family Truckster.
The Corona, like if you showed up to the Toyota dealer and Camry was a little too much car for you, they would direct you to the Coronas. Yeah, I learned. Yeah, go ahead.
I learned stick on a Jeep.
Wow.
And I actually, once I did that and I kind of would tool around, the college campus and I kind of liked it and I got comfortable. Then like a sports car, anything where you sit, I was terrified because I was used to, this giant stick coming out of the middle and it felt easier for some reason.
The Z, says Max Pata, does have that e-brake in the middle. So I shall have my left hand welded to that. Yeah, my early, it's a cool looking car. My early version, my memory of my driving test was, of course, failing driver's ed and then having to take it at like some strip mall in Van Nuys across the street from the DMV. I did that in like 3 days. I took my birthday money and got that. Then I did my private, whatever, driver's training with some other Sears company or some shit like that. Then when I wanted to take my test, I was driving my dad's 74, maybe 75. The first new car that the Carolla family had ever purchased was my dad bought the very first year VW Rabbit. And
that was a cool car.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a convertible, right? That was like a little convertible.
No, the Rabbits.
I'm thinking of the Cabriolet.
Later on, they came out with the Rabbit convertible. But the first gen was just a hard top. Vinyl seats, vinyl mats, like literally no carpet in the entire car, which would pay dividends later when I was picking my buddy up from Snacks Fifth Avenue, and as I was driving, he started peeing on me.
Yeah, it's true.
And then I took the large root beer that he pilfered from Snacks Fifth Avenue, and I threw the whole root beer in his face, and then he threw his root beer in my face. So that my dad, and this is a big gulp size. So my dad's car had 2 large root beers and half a bladder worth of piss, but the whole fucking thing was vinyl. So I literally just I brought it home and just hosed it out.
Because of the sugar in the root beer, it would be easier to get the pee out.
Oh, for sure. I tell you, I have firsthand knowledge of that. So I had my dad's 70. What was the first year of the bug?
74. Oh, sorry, the bug? Or
I'm sorry. The first
Rabbit,
year of the
74.
Rabbit. Yeah, so I had the Rabbit. And they didn't really have their linkage worked out. It was a front-wheel drive car, but VW never really made a front-wheel drive car. And they didn't make a front-engine car. All they made was bugs and station wagons. They made a rear-engine car. And they just didn't really have it worked out that well. Front-wheel drive cars, you used to know it when you drove it. Like, they didn't drive like regular cars. The early generation front-wheel drive cars did not handle very well, drive very well. And the linkage from the stick shift was very sloppy. And you couldn't really tell if it was first gear or third gear that you put it in. It wasn't it wasn't that mechanical, and it wasn't that positive. So it was always kind of sloppy if you got it in reverse. And I had, speaking of the emergency brake, my problem is I would put it in reverse, start backing out, and I would forget to take the emergency brake off. And the car did this weird thing where it would kind of lift up because the rear tires were locked up and the front tires were pushing it backwards, and it would kind of push into the air, and then I would stall it. So when I went to take my driver's test, pulled in, guy got in the car with me in Van Nuys, California. It was time to back it out of the space, and naturally I left the emergency brake on, pulled it back, and stalled it. So I didn't get 2 feet without stalling that car. The rest went okay, and as I recall, I sort of got by with some sort of enough to pass.
Passing score.
And then when I had my driver's license, I was like, oh, man, I am fucking out of here. And it was I couldn't tell. What do you guys think? So freedom, everyone I know who's older than 40 or 45 is like, I want to get my license so I can have freedom. Like, I want to get out.
Sure.
You know, I want to get out.
Uh-huh.
And when my nephews were not getting their driver's license, they didn't care. Like, I think they want to stay home, but is it freedom in that we all lived in a tiny house with parents we didn't want to hang out with, or was it the fact that we're bored as shit? Like, is it my kids like their parents, live in a big house, and have plenty of video games and TVs and, like, whatever, cable. They're not looking to get out.
That was my first thought, was when you and I and Gina, well, maybe not Gina, but you and I turned 16, we had done all we had to do in the house many, many times. Like, there's nothing else to do in these 4 walls or this property. I want to get out of here and do something else with my friends or whatever. And I think these days there is a lot to do. You'll never run out of things to do in your home if you're a 15-year-old kid.
You don't want to get in a car. You want to go to your room.
There's just the internet now. There's just the internet. The world has been driven to you.
I will never forget it, plain as day. I was 16 years old, sitting in the suburbs in Kansas, and got in some argument with my mom, and I had it. And I thought, I'm going to do the most adult thing I can think of doing at this moment.
You prepped your taxes?
I did. I find my fiduciary. I grabbed my car keys to my Chevy Nova, hand-me-down, drove to Oak Park Mall, and bought a new lipstick. And I felt like such an adult and so free and so powerful. And I wanted that feeling over and over again. That was what adults do. Grown-ups can get in a car and go, spend $11. And that was the most exciting thing I could think to do.
You can get angry and go for a drive, blow off
it's
some
more fun to
steam.
get a lipstick.
So August sent me an email today that the Rose Bowl is not going to be in Pasadena this year.
Yeah, the games have moved to Texas.
Even
the games are moving to Texas.
Everything's moving to Texas. Now, I watch college football. I watch pro football. And it seems to be, the crowds, depending on where you go. Maybe it was the Cleveland game. Maybe it was the Tennessee game. I'm trying to think. Some of these crowds, first off, you forget you missed the crowd, especially when the home team makes a big comeback, and everyone's going nuts. Or some big
play and there's a delay on the crowd roar from the sound effects guy. It's like, he's trying, but it would have been nice to 2 seconds ago.
It seems like just about every team has some sort of limited capacity crowd, which it kind of works. If they take a stadium that holds 75,000 people, they let in 30,000 people and they spread them out. It kind of works. But of course, we have no capacity in California, and I don't know what's so inherently dangerous about the Rose Bowl.
Not just no capacity. Some venues won't even let the games be held, fans or not, be damned. Like in Santa Clara at Levi Stadium.
The article that Max Pata found was, and I don't know who's going to be in the Rose Bowl this year.
It's a semifinal game for the college football playoff, so I'm pretty sure it'll either be some combination of Notre Dame, Clemson, Alabama, something. Ohio State.
Yeah, I'm saying Notre Dame, Alabama.
So now the Rose Bowl. Now the Rose Bowl is 105,000 people, and it's open air. It's outside, so it seems like a pretty safe place to conduct a game. But they didn't care about the crowd. They just wanted to see if they could get their friends, like family members, in to watch. So you can read the article.
Yeah. Well, the LA Times reported, the Rose Bowl filed 2 appeals to allow 400 to 500 spectators, all friends and family, in a 95,000-seat stadium that includes over 50 suites. And, of course, California said no. So they're going to Texas.
You'd be safer there than in your own home if you're in an isolated suite.
But you know my theory of like on a roll with your no? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, no. Well, couldn't we just have...
Yeah, but couldn't we just...
No.
But there's
we said no.
Just the friends and the
We have a zero tolerance.
No, I understand that for fans, but these are family. They're living with them anyway. They literally are like seeing them and living with them.
What are the first letters of fan and first 2 letters of family?
F-A.
Right.
For both, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not following.
Well, because you can't say family without first saying fan.
Oh, wow.
So...
You make a lot of sense.
I know the place holds 100,000 people, but you understand 272 people. That's...
And again, they're already living with the players.
Right, but we have a COVID,
family.
we have a situation.
Well, the health officer at the Department of Health says, we understand the honor and tradition that takes place in Pasadena in participating in the Rose Bowl New Year's Day. However, there are no boundaries to this virus.
Wow.
Okay.
That doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't make
You can't just say word salad and have everyone go, okay.
But then everyone will just go to Texas and they'll hold it at Texas, and then that'll be that, and nothing will come of it. How do they explain? They never explain that, right?
And the Rose Bowl, the last time it was played outside of Pasadena was in 1942. Oregon State versus Duke in front of 56,000 fans in North Carolina, and it was moved because it was just weeks after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor.
It was Pearl Harbor, yeah.
So the federal government prohibited large gatherings out west for the duration of the war.
Interesting. It's been, 100 years, maybe more? It's the granddaddy of them all, right? I mean, Brian would know, but...
I think it's like the 97th or something. Yeah, it's right around there. Chris can look it up, but it's approaching that number.
Brian, I think you missed the greatest excuse of all. If we give you a Rose Bowl, we have to give everyone a Rose Bowl.
It's true.
I don't
think of the slippery slope.
So my thing with government and or parents and or school administrators, 1902. So
it's way over 100.
Yeah, 118 years. Yeah. My whole thing is you can't just say no to everything. You have to go, well, what do you want to do? Well, we want to take family members of the players. Let's say we'll cap it at 300 and put them in a space that's outdoors that holds 100,000 people. And you go, okay, well, that sounds reasonable.
Sounds reasonable.
There shall be on any given Sunday, pardon the pun. There's going to be more than 300 people walking around the Rose Bowl, riding their bikes around the Rose Bowl, or playing golf or whatever that is out there with their dogs. So you're going to have that many people in basically that space next to the Rose Bowl. And by the way, if you, as either a parent or a city official, if you say on rare occasion, even as a strict parent or even as a strict city official, if you go, you want to do what? we want to have this game that's been going on for 118 years, and we want it in the actual place where all the pageantry is, the Rose Bowl. You want how many people? 300. Okay. Yeah, I guess we can do that. We're not going to open up the forum for a Bon Jovi concert, but yeah, that sounds reasonable. When you do that, you then display that you're actually thinking about things. Like
you're considering
things. Yeah, it's like when the parent, when the step parent, when the daughter says to the dad, "I'll do all my chores and I'll clean all my room and all that, and I just want to have one friend sleep over in 2 weeks from now," and you go, "All right, do your chores." If you just go no, then you're suggesting that you're not really considering things.
Right. You're right.
Like you're
defaulting to no.
You're just shut down. Mm-hmm. All right. So, or feel free to offer any kind of evidence other than this thing's a killer. Because that's a given.
It has no boundaries.
Right. We all evidently, Texas and Florida, it doesn't seem to affect them as much. But, we know that going in. We know that we know what the gravity of the situation going in. Now let's see if we can be reasonable and work this out.
That's why we're having this conversation. We know what we're up against.
I got to tell you, I'm not that sentimental, but Rose Bowl in Pasadena every year, that was kind of cool. The blimp flying over and always talking to Dr. Drew, who's lives up there by the Rose Bowl. All right, let me do Simply Safe, then we'll jump into some news here. Simply Safe. Everyone wants to keep their home and family safe from break-ins, fire, flood, medical emergencies. Simply Safe Home Security, award-winning 24/7 protection. Not only an arsenal of cameras and sensors, you get the best professional monitors in the business. They got your back day and night, ready to send police, fire, or EMTs. We've been with these guys for years. They've been with us for years. We all use it here. It's so easy to set up. You can do it yourself in about 30 minutes. And then let the professionals, Simply Safe's professionals, take over, monitoring your home 24/7, ready to send help at a moment's notice. Second they hear that alarm. No long-term contract, no hidden fees, no installation costs. And right now, our listeners get a free home security camera with the purchase of a Simply Safe system at simplysafe.com/Adam. That's 2 I's in there. And you get a 60-day risk-free trial. So do it, especially around the holidays. Simplysafe.com/Adam. Get the free security camera. Do that today. All right, quick break. Come back with the news right after this.
Every fucking time I throw a party on a Saturday night, Sunday morning I have to get up and empty 2,600 fucking beers that I swear no one's even taken a fucking draw off of. You know that thing where you're just dumping beer and you're like, there are people in Africa who aren't even buzzed right now. Sorry, I get emotional. I do.
It's Christmas time, the season when we get real drunk. At Christmas time, we get fucked up and then upchuck. And at our office parties, nail interns in the copy room, throw up in potted plants at Christmas time. But when you drink a drink for the Africans. At Christmas time, you get shit-faced, meanwhile they have none. There's a world across the ocean, a world without wine or beer, where the only buzz they have is the flies around their ears, and the only happy ones there are at Oprah's School for Girls. Well, tonight get smashed and thank God as you heard, 'cause there won't
Yeah, Rich and Lynch Rich and Lynch. I'm looking at John Schneider's age. He's 60. He's 4 years older than me, so when I was sitting around eating fucking pie filling and wondering when I was going to begin beating off, he was driving around a Charger and doing Brodies and like banging interns in his trailer.
Gives you perspective, man.
Jesus.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse.
Yeah, it just did. All right, should we do the news with Gina Grad?
Give me the news with Grad. News with Gina Grad. Breaking viral, all those crazy Trump tweets. Give me news with Gina Grad. Trouble in the Middle East. Celebrity drunk meltdowns. Need news with Gina Grad.
The news with Gina Grad.
Well, we have a follow-up on the owner of the Pineapple Hill Saloon and Grill. Talked about her a couple weeks ago. She's the one who filmed, very upset, her outdoor dining area at the Pineapple Hill Saloon here in around LA. And, what was it? 30 feet away, there was a giant tent set up for a film and TV crew to have their meals. And it looked exactly the same as the setup she was required to have, only she's not allowed to work and they are. So that's the backstory. Well, she is suing Governor Newsom over this. Governor. Because she's no longer able to operate, but they are. In a lawsuit filed Sunday in federal court, Pineapple Hill owner Angela Marsden claims that Newsom's orders have been overboard and not based on science, and that Newsom improperly allowed an unselected state public health officer to determine which businesses can stay open and which must close. Unselected, unvoted for, hand selected. Mm-hmm. She was not elected.
I got you.
According to the lawsuit, the forced closure of outdoor dining has kept her from being able to recoup tens of thousands of dollars in expenses she incurred by complying with the previous order. Everyone had to buy the outdoor furniture so they could serve outside. The complaint also claims that government statements have sent mixed messages, and we've talked about those mixed messages. So let me give you a couple examples. On December 8th, California Department of Public Health broadcast Dr. Mark Galley, he said that the decision to prohibit outdoor dining, quote, really has to do with the goal of trying to keep people at home, not a comment on the relative safety of outdoor dining. And then Governor Newsom said, get outdoors with your household safely, explore the neighborhood, explore California's beauty, go on a walk, take the dog for a walk, go on a hike. So the just calling them out on all the mixed messaging.
Well, I know Garrigus is moving ahead with his lawsuit. I don't know if there's any updates. He had to go with L.A. County, and then he had to go with the state of California, and then he told me he was incredulous because L.A. County hired a third outside law firm to work this case, this like dying case. They cannot prove their point, but they're going to keep throwing money at it and keep getting outside counsel to work on it. Dr. Drew, who I spoke to earlier today, goes to Orange County every weekend. He's like, we go out to eat. We go out to eat all the time. Oh, here comes Drew. What were you out to eat last night, Dr. Drew?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And
nice.
the sheriff in Orange County has said he's not going to enforce any of this. He's not going to be the muscle of draconian overreach. These cities seem to be kind of catch as catch can, like they're kind of looking the other way. Oh. But the restaurants are open in Orange County.
I will say, actually, I was in Orange County this weekend also, Drew. I went into a restaurant to pick up food to take out, but there were plenty of people inside. And the guy working the host stand who was doing the, here's your food, big fan of the show. Oh. He's a listener to the show. He loves the show. And he's like, yeah, we're kind of breaking the rules in here. I'm like, that seems like people are enjoying themselves.
But they're not they're distancing and they're wearing masks and they're doing the things they're supposed to do. Yeah. And I just was, before I heard you mention my name, I was reading an article about lockdowns, and every actual scientific study suggests that lockdowns are making things worse, not just in terms of delayed medical care, in terms of the mental health consequences, but all the transmission at a rate of about 5 to 1 now is occurring in the homes. And the articles came out across the weekend that showed asymptomatic spread is essentially a non-phenomenon. And then when you send people...
So you don't spread it if you don't have symptoms.
Correct. And there may be...
Because we rely heavily on worst case scenarios, where you go, well, what if you get it? Well, if I don't have, but you can still spread it. You still spread it. What about the kids? Why can't they go back to school? Well, it may not affect the kids, but then they can still bring it home. They can still spread. We go right to the worst case scenario, and then we fucking lock it off in stone, and then we turn the page and we move forward.
But what I'm seeing is a clear-cut sort of phenomenon jumping out of the medical literature, which is that we should be doing what we've always done, which is quarantining sick people. We should be falling all over ourselves to quarantine sick people.
If you're Newsom, there's not enough sick people to really punish the state, I mean, you think Elon Musk would have moved if they'd punished, if they just quarantined sick people? I don't know, Drew.
I mentioned you earlier today, Adam, that I was thinking back to when I was pushing back so hard on the press, making such a dramatic, staggering, grim case about what was going on in China. And at the time, I was like, don't look at China. We won't do that. We won't lock down like that. It's not something we do. And then the entire world adopted the Chinese Communist government's approach to dealing with pandemics, which is not clearly a good mechanism.
Well, how do you account for... So it's now starting to appear that lockdowns don't have an effect, and the way you would know it is Georgia and Texas and Florida and a lot of places didn't lock down, and California locked down pretty hard. And now we're having this huge spike, and those other places aren't. Is that an accurate statement, or how can you use that information?
Unfortunately, because the public, you can deduce that. It's not an unreasonable thing to deduce. But unfortunately, because the public health officials are doing such a horrible job of trying to figure out what's actually happening, we don't know. And so, they're going to blame Thanksgiving, but we were 3/4 of the way into this spike already by Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it was funny. When I was doing TMZ Live a couple days back, there was a funny thing Harvey Levin said. He went, you hear about all these folks in Chicago and L.A. and New York and San Francisco, and they're all the mayors and everything, and they're all talking about locking down and not going to the beauty salon and not going out to dinner, and then they all get busted going out to dinner or going to the salon or whatever. And then he said, but you don't hear it in the red states. Why aren't the red states? Why aren't they getting busted? Like, why aren't they getting busted? I said, because they're not hypocrites, because they're not locked down. So if you're the governor of Florida, you can go get your hair cut. You're not going to get busted because you're letting everyone get their hair cut. And Harvey went, oh yeah, that was a stupid question. But we've been locked down in California, maybe in L.A. County for sure, maybe as hard as anybody in the United States for quite a long period of time, and we have the biggest spike going in the country.
The worst problems, man, which confirms the literature that most of the transmission occurs in the home, where everyone's getting stuck.
Oh, no Rose Bowl for you this year, Drew.
I know. It makes sense. I mean,
what about, you relied heavily on the, you'd have about 11 cars at $80 a pop park in your driveway every year. I mean,
I'm out there with a flashlight.
And, well, you earn money. You made money doing other things as well. But I'm saying at the end of the year, you really counted on that cash, right?
Yeah, that. Well, and sometimes I'd get like some Rose Bowl towels and stuff and sell those.
Oh, T-shirts. And send the win.
Like merch.
When Ohio State lost, you'd send those shirts to Africa.
How'd you know?
Well. All right, so Drew, you're getting your vaccination tomorrow?
Hopefully, I've got a scheduled appointment, so tomorrow afternoon. I can't wait.
Which company's vaccine is it?
Pfizer.
Do you know, or do you care?
Pfizer. I don't care. I have no preference, except that one's 3 weeks and one's 4 weeks in between. I think the Pfizer's 3 weeks, so I'm happy with that.
In between the booster.
Yeah.
And can you explain the part where you were talking to me yesterday about being 70%
there's a certain percentage of immune response with the first shot, and you're going to be decently covered. At least you're going to get probably milder illness after about a week of response to the first vaccine. That was not studied, but you could pretty much bet on that. So I'm happy with that.
All right.
Godspeed.
Sorry, Gina, what else we got?
Let's talk flying squirrels. I don't think they get enough attention in the news. So Florida wildlife officials allege that flying squirrels, which number somewhere in the tens of thousands in Florida, by the way, are being poached from people's backyards, funneled into the nation's flying squirrel smuggling enterprise. Who knew? So, I mean, they're energetic, they're cute, they're nocturnal. Apparently people love flying squirrels. They're
like the guys in the suits that are gliding squirrels, right?
Right. I know, Brian, you have a big problem with that.
If you can take off from the ground, you can fly.
Right.
Okay. Seized financial documents and maps indicate that as many as 10,000 squirrel traps have been set in the state during the past 5 years in Florida, where it's illegal to take them out of their habitat. Wildlife officials used phone records, cell phone tower data, all kinds of things that to build this case that alleged that thousands of southern flying squirrels, valued collectively at $500,000, were snatched from the woods, passed through a legitimate pet store with fraudulent paperwork, then shipped to South Korea to be sold as pets. Specifically high demand in South Korea. The two businesses that were involved in this operation, their licenses have been revoked. One guy got arrested, but who knew there was such a demand for the flying squirrel as a pet?
Gliding squirrel.
Also, I always hope these guys do prison time and then they get that cellmate, and they go, "What are you in for, buddy?" "I stabbed my old lady, cheating with my brother." "What are you in for?" Have you ever seen that Rocky and Bullwinkle? No? Oh, you don't know Rocky, huh? It was a flying.
There's a guy in the
squirrel. They don't really
Rocky.
fly. They're like those guys in the suit. But by the way, that's not really flying either. It's just gliding. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I stabbed my old lady too. You'd have to come up with a reason to be in there, right? It'd be too long a fucking story, right?
Molest a kid. Several kids.
That's right. My take is we do not want to piss off the flying squirrel community because they could fuck you up pretty badly.
Any animal that can dive bomb you, yes, you want to avoid alienating.
We are on the ground. If enough flying squirrels wanted to come at you, there's not a lot you could do. They would fuck your shit up. That's like essentially somebody just that's like a dunk tank filled with rats. It's like somebody just firing rats at your head through a T-shirt cannon. I mean, they're vermin, man. They got teeth. I mean, they'll chew right through the fascia on the side of a house. I mean, those things.
You seen them climb up and down a tree? They'll fuck you up with their claws.
Oh,
they run up like backwards and shit. They will fuck you up.
But do you think because they are so GD adorable, I mean, they have big eyes and they're fluffy and they fly, that there's something specifically about that South Korea is like, it's adorable, we must have it?
I think
because everything in South Korea is adorable.
I think it's the anime thing. I think they like the big eyes.
Yeah.
It would be a real, ironically tragic ending to be killed by an adorable animal.
What is?
I don't necessarily mean a squirrel, but like, what is the most deadly, adorable animal?
Well, panda bears, I think can fuck you up.
Polar bears.
Polar bears definitely fuck you up.
Yeah.
Hey, Max Pata, how far does a flying squirrel, like how far can they glide? They go up from a tree top and they glide to the next tree.
Let's see. Northern flying squirrel gliding distances tend to be between 5 and 25 meters, though glides of up to 45 meters and longer have been observed.
45 meters? That's 150 feet.
Yeah, but typically 5 and 25.
Right. Let's see if I can get one of those things.
Okay.
Yeah. You got. If you don't name him Rocky, that's on you. I don't care.
That's a whiff.
That's a whiff. What else we got, Gina Grant?
Well, speaking of naming things, comedian Eddie Izzard has announced that her pronouns are now she and her, according to Salon.com. When asked how it felt to take on these new pronouns, Izzard said, quote, "Well, it feels great because people just assume that they know me before, but I'm gender fluid. I just want to be based in girl mode from now on." Izzard, who has starred in series like The Riches, Ocean's 12, Ocean's 13, has been a leader in the British LGBTQ plus community, open about her gender fluid identity, and now is referred to as such.
All right. Noted.
The 1 in, 1 out policy with Elliot.
Is she going to run another marathon? She's like a marathon runner, right?
That's right.
Yes.
Have you ever seen Eddie Izzard live? Impressive.
Yeah. Interesting person. Very interesting person.
Say the least.
That's for sure. So what? We got rid of, oh God, who made the move?
Ellen Page became Elliot Page.
Right. So we did that. Now we made room for Eddie Izzard to slide in there.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right. It's an interesting time. I wonder how much of this has to do with jobs, and I'll explain. I always think about everything as sort of through the prism of work, and like 100 years ago, there were like guy jobs and there were girl jobs. Pretty much, the guys were like lumberjacks and shit, cops or whatever, firemen. And we had like guy jobs, and then we had women jobs, like nurse, school teacher, that kind of stuff. And then now we don't really have jobs defined that clearly. Everyone can do anything, but we got all those jobs where you had to have a lot of upper body strength, or you had to be able to swing a pickaxe, or do all that Paul Bunyan shit. That's all fallen by the wayside. And even if you did do one of those jobs, you'd be operating a piece of equipment or something and moving the logs versus dragging them up a hill or whatever it is. So now the division between men and women, it's not really carved out by society. It's not really like you got to do that job and you're going to do that job. Now there's just sort of everyone's kind of doing data entry or working for an online magazine or something like that. But there is no clear definition of who would be better at it, or think of all the I'm just going to throw this out. I have no idea what the number is, but 100 years ago, if somebody said we're hiring, 80% of it would be a man or a woman. Like that's how jobs are. We need a guy for this or a girl for that. Now it's, I don't know what jobs are left where you need a man or a woman, an airplane pilot, army, soldier. It doesn't.
Professional athletes.
Yeah, they're all just, it's all doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
So it kind of makes sense that as a society transition away from this and that into sort of something in the middle, that a lot more people are just going to move toward the middle.
Yeah, Eddie Izzard or Izzard, whatever it is. Like he's not saying I'm living life as a woman or whatever. He's like I'm gender fluid. Maybe tomorrow or the next year I'll be something else. But
he's a comedian, so it's like who could be Elaine Boozler, or you could be a female comedian.
That's hurtful, actually.
Got to make jokes, people. Come on now. All right.
So we've talked before about the videos and the speeches that are given before you get before the plane takes off, and how Virgin had always been sort of the king of those dance videos. And well, now that they're Alaska Airlines, they're back at it. They have a new safety video to convince customers that they're safe to travel with them, but that they're also kind of cool, kitschy, tongue-in-cheek. So their new ad shows a pilot, flight attendants. They're all dancing to the Men Without Hats song, Safety Dance. And they've changed the lyrics, and here it is.
That's the last one.
S-A-F-E-T-Y. Safety Dance. We can fly where you want to. We can leave your house behind. But if your friends don't mask, and why don't they mask? Well, they won't fly this airline.
You can fly if you want to, because we do safety right. We have air that's clean and disinfectant machines zapping germs like an arcade space fight. And we dance to the dance, to the dance. Everybody wash
All right, hold on. I don't like the pilots included in the merriment.
Yeah, keep it to the staff.
I want a guy, the pilot should be fucking smoking a cigarette out in the parking lot.
We're doing a checklist.
and like on the phone,
checklist would be nice.
on the phone with whatever girlfriend is in whatever town he's landing in. I don't want that fucking guy doing the bunny hop. Leave it to the bag guys. Leave it to the stewardesses. Leave it to the maintenance guys. I don't like my pilot joining in. That's you know what? It's like I also don't like cool principals of schools. You know, I don't like that principal takes the chair and then swings it around and sits on it backwards and wants to talk.
Let's rap.
I don't like that guy.
What's on your mind?
Yeah, I don't like that guy. I don't want my pilot doing the safety dance. I want him up front looking at knots and wind shear and shit like that. It's getting too... I don't know why everything has to be entertaining now, but...
Well, if he's looking at knots and wind shear, when's he going to have time to learn the choreography?
Yeah, I hope that's just a gay dancer who they found and put in a pilot outfit. I hope. I would be very upset. And also, I haven't talked about it in a long time, but Alaskan Airlines with the Eskimo on the tail fin, it's the worst mascot for flight. Eskimos.
Not known for it.
They burrow. You know what I mean? They're not soars.
They're a hunkered down folk.
Yeah, put a fucking flying squirrel on there.
That's a great mascot.
They hunt fucking seal and eat blubber. What do they know about flight? Has anyone ever heard this? Oh, remember that legendary Eskimo pilot? You know, the guys who won World War II for us. The guys were flying with Pappy Boyington over there in the Pacific Theater. All the Eskimos.
I know that.
I don't recall.
I don't know the cliche.
We know the Tuskegee Airmen, right?
That's right.
Sure.
But not the Eskimo Airmen.
No.
I think the term Eskimo is even verboten these days.
Oh, right.
Inuits.
Oh.
Inuits, well, I understand. Yeah. Or indigenous people. Folk.
Maybe it's a Smuckers-like campaign.
Do tell.
With the mascot, the logo this bad.
It has to be good?
Yeah.
With a name this bad, it has to be good?
Here's how confident we are. We're going to take people who've never been off the ground, ever, and we're going to put them on the side of all our planes.
Slap them on our tail fin.
It'd be easy for an insecure airline just to put a hawk or an eagle or something up there, but now...
Like they have something to prove.
Not us.
Continental Airlines.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Yeah.
We're thinking about a drunken, overweight Indian, but we settled on Eskimo. Okay.
Confidence.
Maybe they're that confident. That's right.
Yeah.
All right, let's do one more, Gina Grab.
Oh, good. So back in 2017, this 42-year-old guy, David Working, got a divorce and moved back in with his parents. And when he moved out of his parents' home, they shipped all of his belongings to him. The only thing they didn't ship him was his classic porn collection. Instead, they destroyed it. And this was a big deal to David because that collection included 12 moving boxes full of videos and magazines and 2 boxes of sex toys worth a total of $25,000. So David ended up doing what any kid would do when his parents let him move back in at 42 years old. He sued them for destroying his stuff, and he won.
Well, I'm not one of those guys who chains himself to a bulldozer to save the park. But if I had caught wind,
in these rare circumstances,
I definitely would have intervened. Number one. Right. Number two, $25,000, and a lot of it were like sex toys and stuff. Once that thing leaves the cellophane, it loses a lot of value.
You want to toss it.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I'm not even considering like new. I just want new.
Well loved.
I don't want
used.
What if it's still under warranty, Brian?
Now, even then,
All right,
call me
well,
old
go ahead and
fashioned.
be a snob.
Yeah, sorry.
All right. You know that butt plug's going to lose 30% of its value as soon as you shove it up your ass.
That's right. The second you shove it up
you
your
might
ass,
as well buy a used one. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
You take it out of the cellophane, whether or not you shove it up the ass, it's still used. You still have to categorize it as used.
That's right. That's right. So if the stuff is still pristine and in its original shrink wrap, we got it. He's got an argument. But if that stuff's been busted out and gone through a couple of 9 volts, no. Sorry.
Well, he asked for $86,000 in damages. I don't know if you can do punitive damages on this, but the judge hasn't given a ruling on the final amount. So we'll see how much he ends up getting.
What's this guy's name? Do we have his name?
David Working, Werking. Probably not a Jew.
47 and divorced.
42 and divorced,
yeah. All right. I'll play David Working's dad. And you guys play the neighbor couple who moved away when he was 11. And you're inquiring about how he's doing. Let's see. We meet each other at a mall at a food court.
Okay.
Hey, Norman.
Hey.
Vicky, it's Norman. Norman Working.
I thought that was you. We were over at the hot dog on a stick, and I said, that's Norman.
You're right. You always are.
Hey, do you think they sell incinerators at this mall?
I mean, there's a hardware store, just at the north end. So
Full incinerators. I don't know about that.
Well, you could probably get like a stove, like
a potbelly stove, like at a camping store. Sure.
Oh, shredders, like they have shredders for documents.
Yeah, of course.
Sure, yeah, we have one at home. Just a little one that you put on the desk.
You think they have one that could handle like a like a frozen banana?
That's weird. They'd want to shred that. You could probably just melt it.
Yeah, I'm not doing bananas per se. I'm just going apples to apples here.
So
actually, if you are doing bananas, I am always looking for slightly browned bananas for my banana bread. I would happily come by. Norman, I would love to come by and grab those from you.
You know what? Forget I brought it up. I'm just gonna go. Get one of those mini sledges and a bottle of Jack, and I think I can. Anyway, how you guys holding up? I haven't seen you guys since you moved out of the neighborhood.
Good, holidays are here, and it's different, obviously, with COVID, but we're making the best of it.
Yeah, and I was just telling Bill the other day how much I missed the block parties when all the families would get together with the kids. How's little Davy?
So
we miss
Davy.
He's
little Davy.
He's all grown.
He must be all grown up.
He's all grown up.
He must be. Early 40s by now.
Time just flies.
Yeah. He's all.
Our Julia was asking about it. She had her third
she shouldn't.
baby.
No, that wouldn't be.
She always was quite fond of him, and
well,
she always called him the one that got away. Davy was the one that got away.
I wish he'd keep going. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. We all used to be fond of Dave.
Well, you used to be. He's your boy. I mean, do you guys not get together as often as he used to?
I know you guys don't work at a Staples, but back to the shredders. Do you think they could handle a beta tape?
Oh, you mean the tape itself? You could unwind the tape, I suppose.
That's because it's for paper.
The cartridge would pose some problems. Why do you ask?
Yeah. Oh, no, just not for nothing. Yeah, Dave.
Specific thing to ask about.
You didn't hear what?
You could always get those. It sounds like you have some old beta tapes. We got one of those new cool systems for an early Christmas present where we can convert those.
Oh yeah, no.
When I get the bananas, I'll come by. I'll get all the tapes.
Bring David. Come on over. Bring the baby.
No, Dave.
Really?
David.
Format.
David's not. He was abducted by Al Qaeda.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, several years ago,
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Are you in contact with him?
I worked through a negotiator. It's unclear whether he's alive or not. So.
Oh, my God, that's devastating.
But you got to turn the page. You got to turn the page.
Well, the State
if you don't know
Department
he's alive, you got to keep fighting for him, right? You got to get him back.
Or not. There's a pretty vicious rumors going around the internet that he had a $86,000 hardcore porn collection and that he's still in the United States. But that's all just fake news.
That sounds like
honestly
disinformation campaign.
That would be worse than being abducted by Al Qaeda.
Thank
God that's a rumor.
Rumor. Vicious rumor.
I mean, the community comes together. We want to come together to help you if he's trapped with Al Qaeda. But otherwise,
he's going to be all right. Yeah, he's fine.
Oh.
Did I tell you he was adopted?
No, I did not know that.
He was definitely adopted. Don't say anything to his mom. She doesn't know.
Oh, dear.
It would break her heart.
She's not aware.
Was she confused as to
it would break her heart
if she was pregnant or not? Okay.
It would break Helen's heart. So if you see her,
don't
say anything about the adoption. or the Al Qaeda.
Are you guys still living on Elm?
We're moving to Nome.
Oh,
Alaska.
but you are still in the same house.
For now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's taking us a while to pack up because I have a metric ton worth of fucking heirlooms.
Heirlooms,
Oh,
sure.
That are-
Well, you know, my sister Doreen used to be in the estate sale industry.
Yeah,
and when
keep her away from John. Keep her away from John.
Well, I'd love to when we get the bananas and the beta
David.
tapes, we
David,
can,
sorry.
I'll bring Doreen over and
Yeah, no,
we
don't.
can,
No. She's
estimate
no.
all that
We're
for
good.
you.
No, this isn't
Precious family heirlooms need to be taken very
convert
seriously.
those tapes.
We'll just come on over.
Yeah, well, no, this
and
isn't.
We'll bring everyone.
This isn't fucking Pawn Stars. Okay, we got real fucking problems here, bitch.
Oh, this is.
Oh, Norman.
Oh, well, it seems like you're a bit agitated. So,
Just
Merry Christmas.
if you see Helen,
Yeah, Bill.
don't bring up Al Qaeda
Don't bring up Dave or John.
or Dave or John, his twin brother. just keep walking, okay?
Will do.
Yes.
All right.
We're way
We'll
ahead
be
of you.
praying
All
for
right,
him.
my taco salad is wilting, so I'm
Okay.
just going to be on the end of the
right.
food court.
God bless.
All
Never
right.
should have bothered you.
And scene. All right, let me tell you, good job. Let me tell you about Tommy John. I've had enough to deal with this year. You don't want to have to deal with the holiday gifts. Deal with Tommy John. Tommy John men's and women's loungewear. Say bye to the old stained sweatpants. Tommy John's loungewear is luxurious, soft, and guaranteed to fit perfectly. Loungewear, pajamas, underwear. Come in limited edition sets, perfect gift sets, and they'll sell out quick. So you got to order soon. The loungewear is so comfortable and so great to putz around the house. It is unbelievable. And, of course, the underwear and the T-shirts are the best. It's the best pair you'll ever wear. Or it's free, guaranteed. Right, Dawson?
Order now. Go to TommyJohn.com/Adam for $30 off site-wide and get last-minute holiday deals for a limited time only. Get $30 off for a limited time. TommyJohn.com/Adam. TommyJohn.com/Adam. See site for details.
All right. John Schneider is waiting, and we'll bid adieu to Gene and Bald, and we'll do one-on-one with the great John Schneider right after this.
The Adam Carolla Show presents John Schneider's birthday cocktail party for April 8th. Let's see who's on the guest list. It looks like Spanish explorer and conquistador Juan Ponce de Leon has discovered the party. Betty Ford is here. Better watch your alcohol intake. Former Secretary General of the United Nations, Kofi Annan. The guitarist from Yes, Steve Howe. American bank robber featured on the FBI Most Wanted list, Robert Allen Litchfield. John Lennon's kid Julian is here. Robin Wright. And that's about it. John Schneider is on the Adam Carolla Show.
There's John Schneider. Stand on it. Good to see you.
Hey, good to see you too. Good to see. I have one other birthday that we celebrate, and that is Kane Hodder, who was Jason in many of those wonderful movies, was also born on April 8th. So there you have it.
Oh, Jason with the hockey mask. Was that Jason with the hockey mask?
Yeah. Kane Hodder is his.
Oh, that is a deep cut. He didn't make our cut. Oh, can you hear me?
That's okay. I have a bone here. I have a bone to pick with you. No, we're. I'm here working feverishly. We have it's an amazing thing when you have a hit on your hands. I'm not really accustomed to this.
Well, let's.
Because we are having to fulfill DVDs. We have movie theaters and drive-ins who are calling saying we want to show Stand on it. So we have a wonderful, wonderful way to end our 2020 with actually more work than we did in probably the first half of this year. It's pretty cool.
Well, let me tell people where they can go for Stand On. It's available on demand and streaming, on-demand streaming at CINE, Sin Flix, FLIX.
Yeah.
Got that right. DOD.com. It's a tribute to Smoking the Bandit. John wrote it and directed it and stars in it as well. I didn't see the movie because I didn't get it until about an hour ago, but I just watched the trailer. And as a car guy and as a Smoking the Bandit guy, Looks like it's right up my alley.
Right? It's so much fun. So much fun. And I'm a car nut, or people think maybe I became a car nut because of Dukes of Hazzard, but my mother had a lead foot. My dad did automobile upholstery. Some of my earliest memories are in a VW Bug, about a 58, 59 VW Bug sliding around in the ice in the Caldor parking lot in Mount Kisco, New York, with my dad driving. So I've been a fan of horsepower and sliding cars around, getting cars into impossibly small spaces for my whole life. So it's a real thrill to be part of this movie and to have people receiving it so well. That's the tough part. Just because you love what you do doesn't necessarily mean anybody else is going to even like it.
Yeah, that's kind of the story of my life. I love cars as well, but no one else seems to like them as much as I do. So I was surprised at how young you were, and I was kind of doing the math, and I was saying I would be babysitting my neighbor when I was 15, maybe 16, and I would watch Dukes of Hazzard. And you seemed like an adult to me, and I was a kid. The reality is we're only 4 years apart. So you must have got that gig when you were 18 or 19.
I was 18 years old. Yep, 18 years old when I started Dukes. And my gosh, in some regards, it seems like 42 years ago. In some regards, it seems like 42 minutes ago.
Right.
It's a strange thing, this father time.
Yes.
But I tell you, it was an amazing experience being on that show, working with all those great people like Denver Pyle and James Best and Sorrel Book. And then the folks who directed Dukes of Hazzard were the people who directed Wanted Dead or Alive and the pilot of Gunsmoke.
Right.
Harry Mason. These folks were really television royalty who had come from, many of them had come from vaudeville through radio to this new thing called television. And by the time they were directing Dukes of Hazzard in 1978, 1979, they were 60 years old. So they were my age now, but they had come through the entire, is there any merit to television or is this going to go away?
Right.
And really kind of invented how to shoot television. And I'm very fortunate that I'm a kind of a sponge in that regard. I wanted to know how they did what they did and why. So now at my ripe old age of 60, I get to really basically do what I learned to do back when I was 18, 19, and 20. And I'm loving every minute of it.
How did you come across that job at 18? That seems so young to get a role like that.
It does. But by the time I was 18, I started doing theater in Mount Kisco, New York. I'm from Mount Kisco. And I had been doing theater for 10 years by the time Dukes of Hazzard came around. That's even kind of hard for me to fathom, but it's true. So when, they say success is when preparation meets opportunity. By the time I auditioned for Dukes of Hazzard, I had probably auditioned for 100 things and gotten maybe 12 of them. So the whole nature of wanting something really badly and not getting it, or trying really, really hard to be prepared so you can give the directors, the producers exactly what they want. I wasn't a stranger to that. And it seems odd to say that, but I wasn't. The week I auditioned for my first audition for Dukes of Hazzard, I auditioned for a movie called The Great Santini with Robert.
Sure.
And I was being considered to replace John Travolta in Welcome Back, Kotter. And I went and I read for the producers from Warner Brothers for a little thing called Dukes of Hazzard.
Wow.
So it was a busy week, and I dare say I got the right job.
Did you move out? So were you out in L.A. going out on auditions with your family? Were you out here with a parent? Like, how did that work?
No, I was actually, my mother moved to Atlanta. She worked for IBM. She moved to Atlanta in 1974. So I went to high school in Atlanta. And there was a lot of theater, a lot of film work. Burt Reynolds had done was doing a lot of films in and around Atlanta and Savannah. So the movie industry was hopping. A lot of theater in Atlanta, still is a lot of theater, still a lot of filmmaking. But it was really, from 74 to 78, it was really a hotbed of activity with regard to music, theater, and movies. So I was there. One of the places that the folks from Warner Brothers came to look for Bo and Luke and the gang was Atlanta, because the man who created Dukes of Hazzard, his name is Guy Waldron, he's from Atlanta. So he knew that the talent pool in Atlanta was impressive. You know, a lot of people who take their craft very seriously. And I'm so glad that he did. And even then, when we started filming Dukes of Hazzard, we filmed in Conyers and Covington, which is just a couple miles out of in the outskirts of Atlanta. So it was a remarkable time, and certainly changed my life.
So Dukes of Hazzard was shot outside of Atlanta?
The first 5 episodes were shot outside of it. And then it got on the air and was really an immediate success. There's something about Southern horsepower comedy that you put people behind the wheel of a car and they really know how to again, like my dad, bend a car around an impossible place, put them on a CB and have them doing something for the common good, and people will show up and watch it. Still today, people will show up and watch it. And as far as I can tell, there isn't anybody doing that anymore. There really isn't any. You know, sometime this last year, the people have done their damnedest to make even the word Southern have a bad connotation to it, which really riles me. But I'm delighted to be the guy driving the triple black car and jumping the creek again and doing those same things that were so much fun back in the 70s and 80s.
Well, those movies, and I'm thinking Hal Needham. You know, Hal Needham would make those movies, and they were just fun. He had probably, the script was probably 8 pages. He'd hire a bunch of guys that like working with each other, Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise and guys like that. Let them go way off book and improvise and slap together some gags, as they would call them, some stunts, you know. And I don't think Hal Needham really gets his due. A lot of people don't know his name. They don't recognize him as a director. But he did that whole genre of 70s, car things that were transcended car stuff. Fun, a lot of comedy, lots of big-time stunts.
Well, there's a very fine recipe for all of that. And Hal was a friend of mine. We developed a couple of shows later. Never sold any, but I did Speed Zone. Also he did a Wheel, a series of 3 movies for television called Bandit. And I did one of those. But yeah, Hal wrote and directed Smokey and the Bandit. He was a consummate stuntman. I think he also directed Stick.
The Burt Reynolds movie.
Even Gator.
Yeah, another Burt Reynolds movie.
And these were wonderful. Gator was a fantastic movie.
I think he did Gumball Rally too. Maybe we got to figure that one. Cannonball Run. Sorry,
he did Cannonball Run, and there's a special thing that happens when people. The number one thing I hear about Dukes of Hazzard is people say, "You folks look like you were having so much fun." Well, we were. We're still working 12 hours a day, 5 days a week, 10 months a year. So it's kind of like, how much fun can you have at Disney World every day?
Right.
Out of the year. But it's contagious. And when Hal Needham did a movie, I remember I said to Hal on Bandit, I said, this is the first time I've ever done a movie in the same amount of time it takes to watch it. He thought that was funny. And there's a key to efficiency. And Hal certainly knew how to do that. It's not easy to plan a car jumping over a creek and putting 8 cameras down and making sure there's the fire department is there, making sure there's safety apparatus in the car. There's a whole lot that goes to what boils down to looking like something that just happened.
Right.
And you just happen to have caught it on camera. And Hal was a master at that. And like you say, he would let Bert, and certainly he let Jackie Gleason just kind of go.
Yeah.
And with Sheriff Buford T. Justice, we did that with we have this wonderful guy, Tyrus, who's on Fox, and also Dion Baya, a friend of Tyrus. They've been friends for years, so we cast them as father and son. They're only 4 years apart. One's black, one's white, and nobody has questioned it. But the depth of their friendship fed into their comedy, and it's contagious. I've seen this movie 200 times now. I edited the movie, so I've seen it 200 times now, and I still laugh, just as I still laugh at Buford T. Justice and Junior.
Yes,
in The Bandit.
I've said oftentimes that that role for Jackie Gleason is so underrated by critics and maybe the populace. He was so funny in that role, and there was so much real laugh out loud lines in that, and especially the relationship he had with his son. Or was his son-in-law? No, that was his son.
That was his son.
Yeah, it was great. There was so much comedy from Jackie Gleason in that movie. And it's funny. It's kind of overshadowed by the Trans Am and Burt Reynolds and burnouts and stunts and stuff. But you really watch that movie, it's a tour de force of comedy by Jackie. Yeah.
Great one. Yeah. Nobody quotes Burt Reynolds in that movie.
It's a good point.
Anybody's going to quote anything, it's going to be a Jackie Gleason line.
That's right.
I'm reading a book right now called How Sweet It Is, which is a story about Jackie Gleason's life, which is really, really terrific. During that time, a little bit later, another one of my favorites from television, I think delivered... I think the second best supporting actor role, maybe ever, in a comedy was Fred Gwynn in My Cousin Vinny.
Right. Utes.
The judge, you two Utes. And come
right. Yeah.
Gambini.
Herman Munster. Yeah, he was Herman Munster from the Munster.
Another Westchester County guy. So when I was actually on the set of Smoking the Bandit and spent an afternoon talking with Jackie Gleason about the bars in Mount Kisco, because at the time I think he was living in Peekskill, and I was only 16, but was no stranger to the bars in Kisco. So first thing I said to him was, "Have you been to the Elbow Room lately?" And he was like, "What?" I said, "Have you been to the Elbow Room? Come here, kid, sit down. How do you know about the Elbow Room?" So that was a very famous bar, the Elbow Room, the White Horse, the Bullpen, places in Mount Kisco that some of my family would frequent, and sometimes I would too, even though I was little. I was 6'2" at 14 years old, so
you could get a drink. You and I have a marginal history.
Tell me.
Well, there was a pilot that I shot in probably 96 or 97, probably 97, called Ordinary Extraordinary.
Extraordinary, yes.
And I did the original pilot, And the host, you know who the host was?
Who was the original host? Me.
John.
Wasn't I the only?
No, John Ritter. John Ritter.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't see that. That must have been the non-air pilot.
Yes. So we shot that thing in Florida at Disney in Florida, and it was me and Ritter and I think Leanza Cornett, like Miss USA or something like that.
Yeah. Yes. She just passed away.
Oh, she did?
She did. Yeah.
She was young.
Of course, John is gone. Yep.
Yeah. Who's next? Holy shit. Wait a minute. Well, wait, I was in that pilot. She was 49. She passed in October?
I think she had an accident. I think she was climbing or something. She was one of our, she was a former Miss America, so she was part of my Miracle Network.
Yeah,
but
she was sweet. Anyway, you went on to host the show once they were done with the pilot. We just did the pilot.
Well, way back when, I was the original host. First, I did the non-air pilot as in the actor category, and then I hosted Star Search.
Really?
And Gabe turned that over because it was happening at the same time as some show. It wasn't Dukes; it was some other show. But turned that over to Ed McMahon. But it's so funny. I was just thinking about Ordinary Extraordinary the other day because the Fast Draw, Bob Munson was on it. And Munson.
I don't know.
Was wondering if I could still shoot that fast. He was amazing. Anyway, that was a great time. I enjoyed that show, and it should still be running. But sadly, I think we did 5, right? 5 maybe.
I think IMDb says 7. I don't know. I looked it up. You did 7.
Yeah, 7 episodes.
Munden, by the way, Munden.
The Fast Draw. Yeah, he was amazing.
Yeah, it was back. You see, they used to have those shows. They weren't quite variety shows. They had like real people and America's Funniest People. They had these kind of human story, kind of variety, kind of fun shows that would air on Friday nights. They're kind of wholesome, and they'd have some guy who would balance his chair on top of a drawbridge or something, and some other guy. Yeah, it's like
vaudeville.
Yeah, human nature. Human interest stuff, and guys that had special skills.
Kids are people too.
That's right.
I love shows like that. I think we need things like that again. We need something that celebrates people being funny or caring. We need to know how to make a gingerbread cookie or the world's largest gingerbread cookie. We've got enough. People just take themselves so seriously anymore.
I know.
And I know a lot of people, and they shouldn't be taken so seriously.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Maybe it's social media. Maybe it's the never-ending news cycle. I think, I really do think a lot of it is when you start introducing ideas like systemic racism or global warming or these massive, massive things, there's no finish line. They're never fixed. And so you have to kind of walk around with that weight all the time. Like, how would you, if you thought this country was systemically racist and you thought that not only were your kids growing up in a systemically racist country, but they only have 8 to 12 years before the whole thing goes down because of global warming or climate change or whatever, how happy a person would you be?
Right?
You'd be a fool to be happy.
I tell people, there's no sense in having a small dream. Mm-hmm. Have a big one. Have the biggest one you can imagine, and then imagine more. So, yes, that's where cures for cancer come. That's where systemic goodness comes from. This whole notion that we're not only are we going to hell in a handbag, but we're going there quickly is so detrimental to the human spirit. And we need that. We need people to dream. We need people to dream big. They need to make big movies and little movies and write books and make gingerbread houses and help little old ladies across the street. You know, we really need all of that stuff. And I think it's there. Just for some reason, no one is shining a light on it anymore. No one is pointing a camera at the good stuff. And it's a shame.
Well,
it's a shame.
You know, I think what it is we have sort of decided that everything that is old, everything that's in this country, all the traditions, all the traditional approach to being a citizen of this country and a parent, a father, and a citizen and a neighbor, we've decided all the old stuff is bad and we need to replace it with something new. Except for the old stuff works. The old stuff is basically the old stuff to a happy, fulfilled life is the physical version of diet and exercise. It can seem old and archaic, you know, doing calisthenics and eating right and getting up early. It could all sound so old and sound like something your grandpa would do, but nothing works better. And we got everyone away from it and onto some sort of fad diet, and it's not working, and it's making them miserable.
Just before we got on the phone here on this call, Alicia and I were here at John Schneider Studios where we film all the movies. We had our White Elephant Christmas party. So the White Elephant Christmas party, where you can steal a gift up to 3 times and you pick numbers, it's so much fun,
right?
And it's older than us,
right?
And it's
right.
And just before that, I'm rendering something here on my computer, so I can't do anything. So what did I do? I did something I haven't done in a while. In Louisiana, you can still burn leaves. Mm-hmm. So I went out and I raked up a stack of leaves. I would have jumped in as a kid and sneezed for a month. But I raked up a stack of leaves, got out my little Zippo cigarette lighter that my lovely wife gave me when we first started dating, and I burned some leaves. And then I raked up some more, and I had so much fun. And the yard looks better, except for that, one burn spot right there in the middle. But there's something to be said for doing the wonderful old traditional things that we used to do with our grandparents.
Yes, the mundane stuff, the bourgeoisie, this kind of stuff. The difference between ordering Grubhub and going to the kitchen and making something with your daughter or son, the
right.
difference. So what is it? Well, is the food better? Like, let's just really break it down. I can't make a better hamburger than In-N-Out than Grubhub could deliver to my house. I can't make a better one. I couldn't make better hot wings. I couldn't make better anything than I could have brought to my house. Then is it a financial thing? No, it's not a financial thing. It's $14 to have something brought to your house. Thankfully my tax bracket doesn't. I won't worry about the $14. So then why is it so much better to go into the kitchen, bring your family, bring your kids in there, get out some pots and pans and bust some eggs and do it yourself if it's not about money and the product is inferior? Well, then what is it? And a lot of people have went, well, then you're a sucker if you go into the kitchen and do that because the product's inferior and it's not about the money and you save more time if you just call Grubhub. And the more people who do that, the more unhappy people we have. You have to get back to burning leaves and making omelets.
There's 2 things. I made what we call egg in the hole, which is you put an egg and you cut a hole in a piece of bread and you fry it up. 2 things. There's community with those you are cooking a inferior hamburger with. Mm-hmm. And there's also a sense of accomplishment. Right. There's no sense of having some joker knock on your door and charging you $15 for a hamburger. There's no community there. And what's the big deal about saving time anyway? Oh, this is faster. Well, so what? So you can have more time to be on your phone ignoring the people you're with, texting people that you'll ignore when you get to them because you're texting the next group of people? No. Risk having a conversation with someone. Risk learning about your community. Look over the fence and say hello to somebody. My dad, one of the things my dad did all the time, and I in our truck, I do it. You carry a gallon of gas around. And I said, oh, is that because you're afraid? What is it? The gas gauge not work? You're going to run out? He said, no, it's not in case I run out. It's in case somebody else runs out. Yeah. Carry gas. Because how many times, a couple times a year, I see some poor guy walking down the road carrying gas, headed somewhere because he ran out of gas. Well, I've been there. And one time somebody had gas and they gave it to me, and I was so thankful. And I want to be that guy. I want to be somebody that pays attention to the people around me, to my surroundings. I still want to believe I'm the guy that if I found a wallet, I would pick it up and turn it into the lost and found, and not take the cash and shove it in my pocket. I am still the guy that can't walk by trash. I'll pick up trash. I was taught that if you walk by a piece of trash, you might as well have thrown it there yourself. It's tacit littering.
I like that. I like your dad. Your dad was a military pilot, right?
He was he was a pilot, and he was in the military, but he didn't get to fly in the military.
Oh, but he was a pilot and in the military.
He was he flew N715 whiskey, a Cherokee, and then he had a V-tail Bonanza.
Oh, the V-tail, yeah,
the one that's apparently very hard to fly or very tricky. Very, they have a bad name for those planes down here in the South. I won't say it.
Did he take you up in it when you were young?
Yeah. Yep. And my brother flew for Delta. He just retired last week. 42 years with Delta Airlines.
Wow.
I started Dukes of Hazzard.
Wow.
There's I feel with what my wife and our friends here do, I have chickens. The chickens are crossing the road. Hey, why do you do that? They're not telling. But I feel when I was a kid I probably got my first Super 8 camera back in 1968, 1969. Mm-hmm. And I would film things, and then I'd send my 50 feet of film out to be developed at Caldor, and I'd get it back a week, 2 weeks later, and edit movies. I feel exactly the same way now when we're filming these movies and gathering people together, very much like we have our Dom DeLuise and we have our friends that we work with here. We have a great time. We don't take ourselves. It's not that we don't take what we do seriously, because, there's a lot to making a movie, but we don't take it so seriously that people don't have fun.
Right.
And at the end of the day, when you sit down and you're having a cocktail with friends, watching a movie you all made together, there's that sense of community again. There's that sense of accomplishment again. There's that, dare I say, fellowship.
Well,
which is vitally important to who we are as people.
Well,
and certainly are as American citizens.
I think there's an aspect of this that we're not touching on, but I will, which is whether it's making an omelet for you or your son or your daughter with your family, whatever, raking the leaves and burning them, or making a film, you have the experience of beginning, middle, and end. And you don't have that experience in a digital virtual world where people are bringing food. There's no end. You just binge watch Mad Men or something, and there's just another episode in the queue. Like the beginning, middle, end, whether you're building a model whether you're doing the leaves, whether you're putting an addition on your house, the experience, large and small, because I've made quite a few films, and it takes a long time, and there's a beginning, there's a middle, and then there's the part where you see the DVD sitting up on your shelf, right. And then you blink your eyes and 10 years goes by and you look up at that DVD. And again, if you're doing an omelet, there's a beginning, middle, and end too. It's 15 minutes. The more beginning, middle, and end experiences you can have, the richer your life is going to be. And we have an ever-growing populace that's just one big middle. It's not really a beginning or an end. It's just everyone's just kind of living in the middle. I'm just going to watch CNN, and I'm just going to sit on my phone, and everything's going to be in the middle. I'm not going to start things. I'm not going to finish things. You need to finish things, and sometimes they have to be tangible. You have to go rake those leaves. You have to go prune that tree. You have to go do that project in the garage, or help the kid out with the soapbox derby race or whatever. You need those.
I love that. You know what else is in that we're missing is anticipation.
Yes.
We're not anticipating. Back to Dukes. People waited with bated breath for Friday nights at 8:00 because the Dukes of Hazzard was coming on. I watched Bonanza Sunday nights after the Wonderful World of Disney.
Yeah.
And I look forward to that. I looked so forward to that. And we're missing that. We want something now. We don't know what it is. We look on our phone and go, oh, okay, this looks all right.
Yeah.
We also don't have discovery. When I was a kid and I needed to look up a word, I'd look it up in the dictionary, or if I really wanted to learn something, I'd look in the Encyclopedia Britannica. And you never go right to the word. When you Google something, you go right to it.
Good point.
You look something up in a dictionary, you're a couple of pages either side. I'm still, I still have to go ABC. I still have to sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star when I think of my ABCs.
Right.
But you'd always, again, tacit. There'd always be some tacit learning and peripheral learning that happened by virtue of trying to find something out. And that would invariably lead to thought, which in the mind of a writer, in the mind of someone who likes to read, that would always make me think. It would make me, here's the most important word, I think, the most important gift you can have or trait you can have is curiosity.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I wonder what, of course, it got Curious George in trouble all the time, but still, I think we've lost I'm loving this conversation, by the way.
Good.
I think we have lost our curiosity.
Absolutely. Well, we don't need to be curious if the information is going to keep flying at us. And, we're now in such a position where we're kind of avoiding stimulus that is just flying at us. So much is coming at us. We had to go out and seek it. So when you're a kid, you'd have to walk down to the creek and go find a tadpole and see if you could put it in a jar and bring all that stupid, sort of Norman Rockwell stuff that everyone thinks is dated and boring. You had to go seek out things. You weren't avoiding anything. There was nothing around. So you had to have that. I want to circle back to a thing when you brought up the Dukes of Hazzard Friday nights, 8:00. I used to watch when I babysat, as I said, and I looked forward. I look forward to the Love Boat and Dukes of Hazzard and Fantasy Island, and you couldn't.
Oh, by the way,
yes,
Gavin McLeod. I think he's April 8th. I know we were born in the same hospital, different years.
Well, if Gavin McLeod, if Captain Steubing was born on your birthday and he didn't make our roll call, I'm going to fire somebody's ass. But Dawson, is Gavin McLeod?
No, Chris said no.
No, he isn't. All right, I want to circle back to this thing because I think it's important.
Okay.
All right, hold on one second. Let me tell you about Sling TV. Tired of huge cable bills? Want to cut the cord but worried about missing your favorite shows? Sling TV. Same top cable channels for as little as half the price, plus over 50,000 on-demand shows and movies as well. Make the smart choice, say by switching to Sling TV. You won't miss a thing except the giant cable bills. Sling has millions of subscribers and starts at only $30 a month for 30 top channels. Plus, they offer bundles, so you can get local channels for free, and you save even more that way. Make the smart choice. Switch to Sling TV. Get the best cable for the best price. It's easy. You can switch and save. Super easy to switch with Sling TV. Learn more at sling.com/Adam. That is sling.com/Adam. All right, John, we'll take a quick break. Yep. We'll come right back, and I will tell you what I was thinking right after this. Back with John Schneider. And we're talking about his movie, Stand On It. It's available now on demand, and you can find it. I will spell it out for you. CINEFLIXDOD.com is where you can find this fun movie. And you can check out his website, JohnSchneiderStudios.com. Now, you were talking about waiting till Friday night to watch Dukes of Hazzard. And one of the things, so that's essentially anticipation / foreplay. And now we just jump right to the sex. And we're wondering why we're not enjoying it as much, because there's no anticipation, there's no foreplay. And I enjoyed the hell out of those episodes. And if you told me I could watch one whenever I wanted to on my phone, I would immediately lose interest, I'm sure. And I had this realization when I was filming Hanukkah with Goldberg, the wrestler, for a man. It was a man show bit. We were doing a man show bit, and it was probably in 2001 or something like that. And we just rented out someone's house because we need a sort of regular-looking house to do this whole Hanukkah thing. And we're in between takes, and we had some downtime, and I was just wandering around the house. I was just kind of looking in, and I looked into the kids' room, and when I looked into the kids' room, I saw a DVD of The Grinch Who Stole Christmas just sitting in his book rack, and I looked at it, and I remember thinking, that's ruined for him now. He doesn't care about The Grinch Who Stole Christmas anymore. For me, The Grinch That Stole Christmas was a big deal when it came on. You know, and it was appointment viewing, and I realized this was July. He had the DVD sitting in his room, and I realized it doesn't mean anything to him now. It's been ruined because he could watch it whenever he wanted to.
I agree. You know, it's such a tough thing because we all thought that on demand was a good idea, but I don't think anybody really thought that through. Because, like you say, you diminish the value of everything when everything is available at any time.
Right.
I used to watch the Wild. Here's the funny thing: just last week we rescued a caboose that was going to be cut up and sold for scrap in a town here in Louisiana called Ponchatoula. We had this caboose moved here to the studio. Why? Why have I wanted a caboose for as long as I can remember? Because James West and Artemis Gordon had their office in a caboose on the Wild Wild West.
Right.
Here I am, 60, and I have a caboose. And I feel like I'm 10 years old again because of that. My phone fell over.
That's all right.
You know,
are you going to?
It's hard.
We're looking at a picture of the caboose, by the way.
It's. I have only run into one set of parents in my 42 years that got it right. And what they did is their young kids got turned on to Dukes of Hazzard. But they showed it as soon as they realized their kids were interested, like they were watching Dukes of Hazzard. They made a promise to themselves that they would only show it to their kids on Friday nights at 8:00. So they were in control, at least of that show. And that's what they did. And those kids had the same experience that kids had when it was first on. But the parents had to do that.
Right.
Now, some other parent may say, oh, that's terrible. Why would you do that when it's available? It's right there. Well, it's about anticipation. It's about community. It's about accomplishment. It's about us enjoying something together. Television used to be a unifying element. We all watched Bonanza. We all watched Hee Haw. I watched Wild Wild West with my brothers. Then all of a sudden, when whoever they are figured out that they could sell one show to males 14 to 16 and another show from females 13 to 15 and another show, all of a sudden television became something that separated families. The girls are over there, the dad's watching football, the mom is watching something over there, the son. So that kind of happened in the 80s and 90s. And then this phone that we're talking on showed up, all under the guise of convenience. But what it's done is it's separated us. And, now we're at a time where kids aren't even graduating together. I see commercials and it just makes it makes my soul hurt when I see, oh, this is the new birthday party. Here's a little girl blowing out cyber candles on a laptop. Here's people. This time we're in right now is a bigger enemy to community accomplishment and anticipation than on-demand television ever was. We've got to get back to raking leaves. We've got to get back to Smokey and the Bandit. We've got to get back to community and egg in the hole, making pancakes and trying to flip one up out of the pan and have it land hopelessly on the floor. We've got to get back to doing that.
I gotta. Well, you'll be happy to know. Yes. So here's the thing. It must be self-imposed. We're no longer having to walk 8 miles to the well every day, so we invented a treadmill. We get it. Right. We get it with physical activity. All these pieces of equipment, they're all just simulating an activity that we used to have to do. Right, the stair stepper and the cycle, the Soul Cycle, right. And they're all rowing machines. I have a rowing machine, and I'm not going anywhere. That's the rowing machine. It's a simulation.
Oh, yeah, right.
So we understand that in the physical, as far as your body goes and health goes, you need to simulate this activity, or you will wither, you will atrophy. There's a mental version of this that we haven't figured out, which is you better start simulating work. Just because you could go buy a birdhouse that was made in China for $11 on Amazon doesn't mean it's a good use of your time or money. Even if it costs more to go down to the hardware store and bring your son or daughter and go to the garage and make a project out of it.
Right.
You must. That is essentially simulating the workout that our parents didn't have to worry about it because that's the world they lived in. Now there's an option. There's a Grubhub and an Amazon option, and it's really easy to just bug out of the old-fashioned tried and true option and go right to the easy, the path of least resistance. Pick up your phone and order whatever you wanted. And whatever right. food you want, or whatever that kit or that project is. I'm saying, even if it seems counterintuitive, you must go out to the garage. You must build a treehouse. You must burn leaves. We haven't quite figured that out.
You must change a tire.
Yes. Now you will be.
with your kids. You must whack the car. Yes, it's easier to go to the car wash and run it through there. But again, there's no community there. There's no sense of accomplishment. You don't get any accomplishment when somebody else does a half-assed job on your chrome. There's something about that. Look at, hey, son, look, that's you, that's me in the chrome there. Look,
upside down.
Something about that Charles Kuralt world, something about that Paul Harvey world.
Good day.
We have lost, and it is up to us to take it back. And with the current situation, where community is not only not encouraged, but it is now shunned under the guise of public health, you've got to make a decision to spend time with people. You've got to make a decision to make a new friend today. It's not going to happen without you. You must do it. That's why I'm delighted drive-ins are actually a force to reckon with again. Drive-ins are doing great. We played drive-ins with the movie, and before the drive-in, we did a concert. But there are kids running around, playing in the dirt, playing in the sand, running up and down, swinging on swings, and having a ball, doing things kids do.
Right.
And that still exists, but you have to make an effort. You have to take your kids out. You have to let them play. I mean, my God, people take their dogs to dog parks and they won't play with their own children.
That's a good point.
It's got to change. It's got to change. Or people will be people are losing sight because some people haven't even seen it. They don't know what that kind of happy is.
Right.
They don't know what a beer and a Dodger dog or a Coney Island dog is. They don't know what a great slice of pizza with a stranger is. They don't know what a hot cup of coffee and a warm apple fritter on the corner on Fifth Avenue. They don't know what that is anymore. And I don't know who they are, but they are trying to keep that from happening at all costs. Divide and conquer comes to mind.
Yeah. And as I always think, to what end? What's the end? What's the end game? Let's get everyone agitated and angry and hating this country and hating everyone around them. And then what? Sell them things?
People are easy to control. I've always been somebody who felt that you can't really gather people against something. And they believe that you can gather people in opposition to something. I believe you gather force for something.
Well,
let's do a play. I've got a barn. I got a piano. Let's do a play. I got a hammer and some nails. Let's build something. Let's make an omelet.
Well,
let's make. Right?
First off, you are speaking to a man who, as soon as we're done here, is going to get in his Z car with a 6-speed transmission and take his 14-year-old twins out to the school parking lot and teach them how to drive a stick shift. That is my goal.
That's fantastic. I'm going to tell you a quick driving with my kids story.
Please.
I made sure. Now, this was in a 56 DeSoto. It wasn't in 1956. I had it in probably 1995. But I made sure that my kids, the first time that a car got out of control for them, I wanted to make sure that they did it.
Mm-hmm.
So we drive down a dirt road or in a dirt parking lot, and I would say, okay, floor it and turn the car all the way to the left. And they would, and they weren't scared. It was like, oh, that's fun. So I wanted to make sure that my kids understood that when that happened, they could control it. It's hard to do with a stick shift, but you can give it a shot.
Oh, I've done it on way more than one occasion in a stick shift.
Kids don't know how to drive a stick yet.
Wow.
That's going to be a tough for them to figure out.
They're going to learn. Stand on it.
My man once said, it's better to jump off a horse than be thrown.
I concur. Stand On It's the name of the movie. It's available now on demand, streaming at
Well, you can also get it at johnschneiderstudios.com. The DVD, johnschneiderstudios.com.
Yeah, go there. John, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Every moment of it. You have a wonderful Christmas. Have a great holiday. Have a wonderful New Year. There's still time to make 2020 the best year yet.
I'm going to try from your mouth to God's ears. John Schneider, everybody. Thank you, man.
Bye-bye.
All right, let me hit Simply Safe. Everyone wants to feel safe at home, keep their family safe. Break-ins, fires, floods, medical emergencies. Simply Safe Home Security Award-winning 24/7 protection. Not only an arsenal of cameras and sensors, you get professional monitors, and you get the best in the business. They got your back day and night, ready to send police, fire, or EMTs. We've been with these guys for years. They've been a great sponsor. The company just keeps growing because it's a great company, and the product is fantastic. You can set it up in about 30 minutes. Then you let Simply Safe's professionals take over, monitoring your home 24/7, ready to send help in a moment's notice when they hear that alarm. No long-term contracts, no hidden fees, no installation costs. And right now, our listeners get a free home security camera with the purchase of Simply Safe system at simplysafe.com/Adam. 60-day risk-free trial. Visit Simply and the free security camera, simplysafe.com/Adam. All right, Naples, Off the Hook, January, doing stand-up and live pod there, January 16th, 17th, and that's Florida, Naples, obviously. Burbank, California, Pickwick Bowl, January 23rd. We're doing a drive-in show there, Oklahoma City. Bricktown Comedy Club, February 26th and 27th. And you just go to adamcarolla.com for all the live shows, and check out our YouTube page. We have a lot of cool clips and stand-up there as well. Until next time, it's Adam Carolla, Gina Grad, and Bryan and John Schneider saying mahalo.